Chewing gum is banned in Singapore. Along with having laws against spitting and urinating anywhere but in a toilet, which you're then legally obligated to flush if it's a public washroom, Singapore has also banned chewing gum in an effort to keep the city clean and orderly. The ban was established in 1992. In 2004, exceptions were made for therapeutic, dental, or nicotine gums. Dentistry goes all the way back to when humans first had teeth, well, not quite that long. However, one study found evidence of teeth being drilled in skulls that dates from 7,500 to 9,000 years ago. The holes were likely made using a prehistoric bow drill. Could that be the work of the first dentist? Other biting research conducted by the University of Bologna, Italy, on a 14,000-year-old skull found that one rotten tooth in the jaw had been deliberately scoured and scraped with a tool, according to the BBC. That makes dentistry one of the oldest recorded professions and is definitely a reason to smile. Did you know that the hardest working muscle in your body is your heart? It pumps more than 2,000 gallons of blood a day and beats more than 2.5 billion times in a 70-year lifespan.
Before we proceed, please subscribe and don't forget to click the notification bell down below and leave your comments and suggestions.
Japan is thought to have one of the highest densities of vending machines in the world, with one for every 40 people in the country. While most sell various types of beverages, others feature ice cream, noodles, and disposable cameras. Wearing headphones for just an hour could increase the bacteria in your ear by 700 times. This is because when you put on earbud headphones, you cover your ears from the natural air, which increases production of bacteria. In the movie Troy, based on Homer's Iliad, Brad Pitt plays the brave and buff Greek hero Achilles. Legend has it that Achilles could not be defeated unless hit in his heel. It's where we get the term, Achilles' heel, meaning a vulnerable point. While filming an epic battle scene, Brad Pitt ironically hurt his Achilles tendon, an injury that set back the film's production by 2 months. What's inside a Kit Kat? Well, those are broken Kit Kats that are damaged during production. They get ground up and go between the wafers inside, along with cocoa and sugar. That's a way to not let anything go to waste. The longest fingernails ever measures over 28 feet in total. American Lee Redmond started growing them in 1979 and set the record in 2008. Sadly, she lost her nails in a car crash in 2009. Do you know that Queen Elizabeth II is a trained mechanic? Yes, the Queen is actually quite handy. When she was 16, she joined the British Employment Agency, the Labour Exchange, where she learned the basics of truck repair, including how to change a tire and repair engines. Nowadays, she has others who can do such things for her, but isn't it nice to know that if one of her cars broke down, she might be able to get it up and running? Meanwhile, the hottest inhabited place in the world is in Ethiopia. Dalol, Ethiopia, has the highest average temperature of any inhabited place on Earth. Climate data recorded between 1960 and 1966 had the average high at 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Even in the winter, the average highs were between 97 and 98 degrees. Did you know that giant squids have the largest eyes of any animal on Earth? If you're not sufficiently scared of giant squids, consider that their eyes are 11 inches across. That makes them the largest known eyes in the animal kingdom. The world wastes about 1 billion metric tons of food each year. Food waste is a huge problem. How big? About 931 million metric tons. That's how much food that researchers with the United Nations estimate was wasted in 2019, according to the Food Waste Index Report 2021, which surveyed 54 countries, finding that the majority of wasted food, 61%, comes from homes, while restaurants and other food services produce 26% of wasted food. Grocery stores make up just 13% of food waste.
Before we proceed, please subscribe and don't forget to click the notification bell down below and leave your comments and suggestions.
Hair and nails grow faster during pregnancy. A surprising side effect of pregnancy is that nails and hair grow faster than usual. This is due to changes in hormones as well as increased blood circulation and metabolism supplying nutrients. A pregnant person's hair also might feel thicker and look more shiny and healthy than usual. It can occasionally mean that the expecting may suddenly sprout strands in places they'd rather not. Did you know that the world's smallest reptile was first reported in 2021? Those who think everything on the planet has already been discovered might just not be looking close enough. A tiny chameleon discovered in northern Madagascar and measuring just 28.9 millimeters is believed to be the smallest reptile on Earth. The itty-bitty chameleon was recently discovered and reported in the January 2021 issue of Scientific Reports. But there's one thing about these critters that's big for its size: the genitalia of the males measures almost 20% of its body length. Meanwhile, did you know that the wood frog can hold its pee for up to 8 months? Talk about having to go. Wood frogs in Alaska have been known to hold their urine for up to 8 months, sticking it out through the region's long winters before relieving themselves once temperatures increase. The urine actually helps keep the animal alive while it hibernates, with special microbes in the gut that recycle the urea, urine's main waste, into nitrogen. Did you know that the healthiest place in the world is in Panama? A small valley near Volcan in Panama has garnered the distinction of being the world's healthiest place to live, according to a 2018 report by International Living. Called Shangri-La Valley, the area is home to beautiful scenery, a low cost of living, and a significantly longer life expectancy than the surrounding areas. All in all, the world's healthiest areas have some common factors, according to the ranking: a warm climate, an active social scene, healthy food, and a slower pace of life that makes for less daily stress. Did you know that there's a giant fish with a transparent head? The deepest levels of our oceans are some of the least explored areas of the planet. Because of the extreme pressure, cold, and dark at these depths, only the very strangest of creatures can survive there. These include giant tube worms, vampire squids, goblin sharks, and viperfish with teeth so long that they can't close their mouths. Perhaps the strangest, though, is the barrel-A, a large fish with a completely transparent head. And did you know that Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia? Saudi Arabia is known for its vast expanse of desert, so it may seem unbelievable that they rely on Australia to supply them with animals that dominate their landscape. Australia originally had camels imported to be used for transporting heavy loads or for riding. They were let loose when their work was done, causing an unwanted spike in their population. Australians then sold the camels back to desert-based countries like Saudi Arabia, which use camels at a much higher volume. A hiker found and returned an ancient wallet. Halfway up a glacier in the Andes, hiker Ricardo Peña found a wallet. It belonged to an Uruguayan rugby player who had been in a 1972 plane crash in which all but 16 passengers died. As it turned out, the wallet belonged to one of the survivors. Peña tracked him down and returned the wallet, more than 3 decades after its loss. Did you know that the IKEA catalogue is the most widely printed book in history? With more than 200 million copies in circulation every year, the IKEA catalogue surpasses the Bible, the Quran, and the Harry Potter series to earn the title of the world's most printed book. The annual catalogues are usually around 350 pages and vary in each of the 72 regions in which it's distributed. For example, catalogues in Saudi Arabia only feature men in their photos. Did you know that someone tried to sell New Zealand on eBay but was stopped once the bid reached $3,000? There's an ongoing rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, but in 2006, one Australian man came very close to winning. In May 2006, he opened a bid on the e-commerce platform for the country of New Zealand. Bids started at 1 cent. Bidding prices climbed all the way to $3,000 before eBay officials shut it down, adding, "Clearly New Zealand is not for sale." Still, New Zealand was salty about the prank. The country's foreign minister at the time even called it nonsensical stupidity. Meanwhile, if you die alone in the Netherlands, someone will write you a poem and recite it at your funeral. For those lonely folk who pass away with no next of kin and no one to claim them at death, there will be at least one person at their funeral, a poet. In response to these so-called lonely funerals, the country implemented the ritual of lonely funeral poems, in which poets research the deceased, write a poem in their honor, and recite it at the funeral. What started as a small project in Amsterdam has now grown into a countrywide competition. Did you know that in 2016, a Florida man was charged with assault after throwing a live alligator through a drive-through window? In perhaps the most Floridian attack ever, the deadly weapon of choice was an alligator. As 24-year-old Joshua James was being handed his drink at a Wendy's drive-through, he tossed a live 3.5-foot alligator at the attendant for absolutely no reason at all. As a result, he was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, possession of an alligator, and petty theft. He was also banned from all Wendy's fast food restaurants.